Hello, hello. What's up? What's up? It is a new day, it is a new week, and it's time to get social. My name is Kayvana, and welcome to the Introverts Social Hour. Feeling stressed? Same. Enter Goli Ashwagummies, packed with KSM 66 ashwagandha to help you relax, restore, and unwind. Plus, they've got vitamin D for immune support. Because adulting is hard, but taking your daily gummies shouldn't be. Grab yours at Goli.com and use my code INTROVERTHOUR for 10% off. Once again, that's INTROVERTHOUR for 10% off. Let's go. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Introvert Social Hour. Today, we are talking about, all things life in regards to your career routes, your passions, how those two things can intertwine, and how they can also like oppose each other, but how can you still make it work? And so we're going to be talking about like what a creative career could look like, but then also maybe something that's not so creative and how you are creative in making those things work, um, so I'm bringing back my friend Chris. Y'all know Chris. We've talked about musicals together. We've talked about, this specific situation before, but now this episode we get to really go in depth about it, which I'm really excited for. So everybody, welcome back, Chris. Hey, Chris.
What's up? Peace and love, everyone. Hope you're all doing amazing. It's great to see you,
Yes.
Kivana, as always. So,
Yes.
yeah, let's do it.
Same.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I was like, wait, I'm talking to Chris this week. Like, we get to catch up. That's what the biggest reason why I loved doing the podcast too, because I could get so busy, and so like this is a
Yeah.
perfectly scheduled, very adult. You have to schedule everything, perfectly scheduled
Yeah.
moment to just like catch up. And so I'm glad that we were able to make this work. I am curious now. Like, this is our kind of like catch up moment before we really dive
hmm
into things. Let's like talk about the last time we talked. Like, we discussed what our career looked like at that time,
hmm
which is about a year ago ish.
Yeah.
And we had that career conversation. Can you dig a bit deeper of like what was then into like what is now? How are they different?
Yeah, definitely. So the last time we spoke was what I think like sometime last year. Was it
Hmm.
more like in the summertime or
Summerish,
springtime?
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
somewhere around there. And at that point, I'm still working at the same engineering job. In case this is your first time meeting me, everyone, I am an engineer. I went to school for nano engineering, but I'm doing theater on the side. And this past year, I actually kind of put my acting and community theater on a little pause because I was focusing on applying to grad school. So I, reached out to some mentors. I like researched a little bit into it, a lot into it actually, and then did
Hmm.
my application in uh, December. Submitted everywhere. I had to book auditions. It's really funny because a lot of people don't really know how much effort and energy goes into grad applications when it comes to theater. I think a lot of people, when they think of grad school, at least when I tell people, "Oh, I'm going back to, or I'm trying to apply to grad school," they're like, "Oh, you're getting like a, MS or a PhD," and I'm like, "Well, no, I'm going for an MFA. Just wanna,
Hmm.
I just want to try that career path and see where that takes me." So
Yeah.
I basically focused on that, and so basically you have to apply, and then you have to schedule an audition. And most of the schools have touring dates, usually New York, Chicago, or like San Francisco or Philadelphia. Those are kind of the
Hmm.
main major cities. Unless that school's like located in a different city, like USD, it's in San Diego, of course. So,
Yeah.
I scheduled my tour dates, I guess, essentially, did all the traveled for like 4 weekends in a row so I can go and
Wow.
audition. And I only heard back from one school in London, called Drama Studio London, and it
London. Oh,
yeah,
wait, sorry.
yeah.
I didn't want to
Yeah, no.
interrupt, but I'm
No, no,
so excited.
yeah, it's exciting. I did, however, turn down the, offer mainly because of, like, cost. Usually,
Yeah, that is a big jump.
yeah, London does have very low graduate fees, but
Mm,
I'm trying to go for, like, my tuition paid for already,
period.
and
Yes.
especially with what's happening with the Department of Education and, with
Mm,
student loans, I do not wanna take out an additional 40K for 2 years.
yeah.
It's just, and I still have my undergrad to pay off, and so eventually it kinda came down to that financial decision. And also one of the I think, like, it's really important to, especially for when pursuing a, grad program, to kind of understand what you're going there for. And for me, one of the biggest things was the partnership with a reputable theater. I wanted to
Mm.
work alongside some playhouse or a theater connected to the school, so that way I would get that professional experience as well.
Yeah.
And this school didn't really have that necessarily. They kind of focus really much more on like scene work, and not really focused on putting on like shows, but more like putting on these small cabarets with different scenes and everything.
Mm.
So eventually, I after talking to some people who are currently going there and kind of doing more research, I just decided that it's just I really am appreciative of the acceptance and the offer and the opportunity, but it just wasn't right for me at this present moment. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been very tumultuous. It's definitely not for the weak. It's
Mhm.
pretty cutthroat. A lot of programs will call you back that same day, and if you don't get that call back, then you don't proceed to the
Got
next step
it.
of the audition process. So it's
Mhm.
very intense. I definitely, you know, I went in there thinking I was prepared, and I really wasn't, as much as, like, I should have been, and that's a fault of me, and
Mm.
it was a really great learning experience, honestly, because, it was just, really wild, some wild stories. But, yeah, that's pretty much where my life is. But so, grad school didn't work out this year, unfortunately, but it definitely didn't deter me from continuing to pursue something in acting, uh and so, yeah, now I'm at a point where I'm looking at other opportunities, maybe taking like some acting classes. I'm right down the street from Segestrom Performing Arts Center, which is
Nice.
like a pretty nice theater in OC, kind of like the Pantages of Orange County. And
Mhm.
they offer some stuff, and just trying to look at just any opportunity really. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm at. But yeah. What about yourself? What
Wow.
about yourself?
Listen, hold up. I have questions. I have
Oh
questions.
yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, I don't. Uh
No,
huh.
for sure. Definitely though, because I'll update you as well.
Yes,
What a
please.
time, right?
Yeah, man.
The world of arts
Oh,
is
yeah, man.
what a time. Um, so my first question was, when did you decide like, okay, I think I'm gonna try and like apply to grad school. Like I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, that was in May when, I don't know if I said this in the last time I was on here, but,
Mhm.
I essentially got laid off from this job that I had, and I've only been
I
there
do
for,
remember
like, a
this.
month, and at that point, I didn't really feel bad about it or really sad or heartbroken or at all. I was just kind of like,
Mhm.
I felt a little bit of relief, and I was like, "Maybe this is a sign.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a sign that this was, like, having some sort of like, unnecessary stress on me." And I wasn't gonna do any theater. I was, like, kind of like, "I'm over it, like, I'm done with it. I just wanna, I don't know, cry." But not like that, sorry.
No, but yes.
Not cry
But I
because of the
get it though.
sadness of the job, but cry more of, like, the state of the world and where I'm at. And
Mhm.
so and a director reached out to me to audition for Adam's Family in Long Beach, and I told him, like, "I'm not really feeling it, I don't know." And another friend that I knew in the community theater scene was also asking if I wanted to, join this other show that's at Cabrillo, and I was like, "Again, I'm not sure if I want to." And she was actually the one that was like, "I totally understand, I'm sorry that you're going through all this," but she was like, "I think maybe it might be a good thing to get back into theater now more than
Mhm.
ever, because like you don't really have a lot of obligations, and it might do some good." And so with that, I decided to go into the audition for Long Beach, and then
Mhm.
got into Adam's Family and all that. So, and I think at that point during like that May period when we are rehearsing and everything, I was like, you know this is kind of what I want to do. I hate engineering, and it's freaking
Yeah.
sucks. The industry is very, I don't think, for me. So
Mm.
um and that kind of propelled me to start doing research, and really the most time it took for me, at least, is getting into the mindset of this is like what I'm going to do, especially because I feel like there's a lot of stigma just from my family and the community. Like, even people that I knew from theater were like, "Oh, like, are you sure you want to do that?" Like, um and I think it was battling a lot with myself, like being like, "Okay, you know, just do it, and see where it goes." So, yes.
Wow. Look at
Yeah.
that. Um, No, it's good to know because you're telling me it's hard to explain. So it kind of low key feels like a quarter life crisis.
Oh, yeah.
um, I had the very similar thing, but this happened to me senior year of college. And that was
Mhm.
when I decided I was like, I'm gonna pursue dance. And then so many other things happened, COVID amongst many, so like
Yeah.
life. And then but now I remember like so I can only imagine that feeling of being like, I just got this whole degree. At that point, like that was it. Like my
Yeah.
major was done. I was just
Oh,
taking
no.
dance classes at that point for the most part. And I was just like, so
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
definitely imagine that. And then I'm glad you mentioned like talking to your family and what that looks like. I remember I think I was in the House Advisor Lounge in Res Life,
Mhm.
and I luckily I was by myself, and that's why I called. And I called my mom. I was like, "Hey, so
Yeah.
here's what I'm doing." And I
Mhm.
remember being like so nervous, and then she actually was just like, "Okay, like as long as that's what you want to do." And I remember crying out of just like relief. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh!" Mind you, like there should have been no pressures behind it, more so just because like it wasn't like, not to be like, "Oh, she didn't pay for it," but, like, she didn't pay for my college and,
Yeah.
experience and other things like that, like, it was all me up in there, but
Yeah,
it was also
exactly.
important to be like, "Hey, like, I know we've gotten to this point together at a certain point. Just let you know,
Mhm.
I'm taking a little pivot."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I'm glad to know that that's relatable, and I'm pretty sure anybody listening right now for sure can relate to that because what I've learned is what you want is always constantly changing.
Mhm.
Because 'cause I'm pretty sure I'm always up and down in regards to dance. That's always
Mhm.
like because going back to like the path and how hard it is to become successful or a paid participant
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
world of art, especially in dance, is an interesting journey. But what
Yeah.
have I done? Where's my catch up? So the last time we talked,
Mhm.
um, I don't I don't think you knew at this point because I don't think I was able to tell anyone at this point. But I
Uh-huh.
had uh through my experience paying to perform,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
ended up working out that I was able to, um, be invited to actually just perform to represent the,
No way.
Ailey extension at the Whitney Museum in New York City,
Wow, that's
which is, like, a
awesome.
really cool.
Hey.
Yeah. So that was what we started in June, rehearsing in
Mhm.
June officially, but we had done on and off workshops since January
Wow.
of 2024. And so then
Mhm.
we had our show in November, which was like a really big deal, like representing like the Ailey experience overall. Getting to work with the well known and the most loveliest person, Matthew Rushing,
Mhm.
who danced with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Company for years. And
Dang.
he was, or he still is, but he'll be switching out of his role soon. But he's currently right now the interim director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, which is also really cool. So like these things were happening, and
Yeah.
then I was also like, okay, here's what was beating me up. I was like, okay, I get to experience this. This is really cool. But
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm making no movement in my external life outside of this.
Mm.
Like I was still stuck being a teacher, sad,
Oh.
depressed, like,
Mhm.
I'm a high functional girl, so it was very I can look back now and I was like, "Yeah, I was going through it."
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which is I can joke about that, but just like, yeah, like, I was really going through it, and so it was hard. I was like, "This really great thing is happening," but I'm also, like, really sad, and also because I have so much pressure about this really great thing happening, I'm also comparing myself to others and, like,
Mm.
the whole shebang, as you know, the whole
Yeah.
shebang. Um So I ended up having to go back to teach in the school year for into August and September.
Mm.
I remember in September, for listeners, if you don't know the full story, I'm not gonna break down the whole full story, but I made a whole podcast episode about it, the last episode of season two. But um like I took a walk. I was not feeling work that day, as I
Mhm.
usually don't. I was always coming to work anxious. I was anxious on the subway.
Mm.
Like, that was bad. And so I
Yeah.
was like, "I'm just gonna take a walk. I think I'm ready to go." I took a walk. I called my mom to make sure, like, "Am I crazy? Like, can you?" Would I be wild
Yeah.
if I just, like, put my letter of resignation in for this week?
Nah.
And we like, an hour I had an hour to spare, and I was just walking, and I was just walking
Mhm.
around, looping around the neighborhood, and I was like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna do it." I don't have a backup job. I was tired of applying for jobs and not hearing back.
Mhm.
I had just got a temporary job, uh, at home.
Mhm.
It's like a furniture store if you don't have one down there. I don't know if you do.
Mm.
Or like a home design store.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
so I knew I would have a teeny bit of income coming in, which is
Yeah.
better than nothing.
Mhm.
Um, and I knew I had some savings that could help me out just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was really all I had. And I was like, I'm just gonna walk out on it. I was like, something's telling me that this is my time to just drop it, let it
Mhm.
go. Because if I stay, I'm gonna be stuck here again for a whole nother year, and I did not want to do that.
Mhm.
Um, and so I put it in, and I left 2 days later. I,
Slay, dude. That's awesome. Uh-huh.
listen, the freedom I felt, I was like, I'm gone. But then I was also like, did I really just do that? That was very much the vibe. As for right now, full time wise, so what ended up happening was after I left September like 19th, so
Mhm.
it's been 5 months. I meant to
Yeah,
do a little
alright.
TikTok post, totally forgot. Um,
Hey.
and the end of October,
Mhm.
I got two offers.
Hey. Okay.
Mind you, hadn't had any offers for the past 2 years
Woo.
of applying for jobs,
Uh-huh.
and I had two offers sitting that I could choose from. I went from not having anything to choose from to having a choice. And
Mhm.
one choice was to go back into academics, but in the office stance of things,
Mm.
and and they paid more,
Uh-huh.
but another choice was to just branch out, go into corporate, do something different. That's
Uh,
more, So I actually work in the corporate world now, which is very interesting.
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but I love my job. I got that unlimited
Alright.
PTO.
Dude, yeah. Oh,
I don't have to stress about being to call out sick. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
who's gonna do my lesson plans? I don't have to
Uh-huh.
be when I'm off. I'm off. Nobody has to contact me. It's a wonderful time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm still in that midst of okay, what's happening with dance?
Mhm.
The best I could do is still practice it. I think I'm glad you mentioned like mentorship and stuff. I'm so bad at putting myself out there, Chris.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about this, but like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so bad because I applied for a program recently and I didn't get it. And the person
Uh-huh.
I asked for a letter of recommendation from was like, you should reach out to them still, like to the choreographers who were part of that program because they'll still like they're very nice. Like they'll mentor you. And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, but they don't know me and I'm small.
Aw.
I was like, I'm too scared because what if they're like, who the heck are you? Why are you contacting me?
Uh-huh.
And I just didn't know how to go about that. So I think that's the struggle I'm finding. I've talked about this a lot with my friends. Like, what does it look like to build confidence in your
Mhm.
art and your work, and like believe in yourself?
Yes.
That's a hard one for me when it comes to dance. We're fighting all the time,
Mhm.
and I hate it
Yeah.
because as a you kind of have to be confident as a dancer,
Yeah.
and I think that might be what's holding me back,
Mhm.
to be honest.
I
But
think
yeah,
yeah, no, I mean, at least what I've seen, I think you're amazing. I think you're great.
thank you.
And I think I'm really glad you touched on that because I think that's a really big thing with artists is kind of like that confidence and just finding like who you are in your art,
Hmm.
you know? Um, and honestly, I mean, you already said that you talked to all your friends and stuff, but I think, an email goes a long way. I I know it's very,
Okay.
'cause I had a similar struggle, not like I guess not that similar, but, like, when I had to reach out for letters of rec because I was applying to
Hmm.
places, and I reached out to some acting teachers from, UCSD, and, I mean, I
Hey.
have not been in a class from them in, like, 5 years, but
Yeah.
one of the programs literally was, like, for Columbia, actually, they were like, "You need
Hey.
a teacher letter of rec," and I was like,
Mm.
and I straight up was just gonna not apply. And then my friends was like, they're like, bro, like they're professors, they understand that this is a common situation. And they're like,
That's
I've
true.
done it before. And when they did their MBA program, and I was
Mhm.
like, they're like, the worst that they can say is no. And I'm like, okay. And it took a while. It literally, I didn't ask for a letter of rec until like I think mid-November or something. And it was
Oh,
to me,
wow.
I felt like it was a and my apps were due in December, so
Oh,
I
you
was
were
like,
pushing
I don't
it.
yeah, I was pushing it, and I was like, "You know what? This is a Hail Mary. Let me just go ahead and do it." Um,
Mm,
and they responded, and I was able to get letters of rec from both of them, and I was like,
nice.
"Dang." And, you know, I think I think as long as you put yourself out there and, it's hard to get to that point, and I totally understand
Mm.
it. Um, and so what are because you mentioned about, like, discussing how to get that confidence, like, what are some things that you've discovered about that kind of process or
That's the thing, Chris. I don't know. That's a great question. So it's so funny because I'm so like self-aware. Like I'm
Mhm.
fully aware of what the things are that needs to be worked on, and I'm fully aware of like what the steps would be. I just haven't taken
Yeah,
that jump. So it's
got
like
it.
what you said is especially in dance, but I would say in
Mhm.
any art craft, but what I've discovered is socials are a big thing. Like
Mm.
if you're not posting about your craft, like that's what they want to know. So like
Yeah.
while I'm grateful to have started my creator journey, with like my TikTok and stuff,
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with dance. So when they're looking at my socials and I'm applying to like a program or a mentorship thing or something like that,
Mhm.
and I'm giving them like at Kavana or at the Introvert Social Hour, they're like, "What is
Yeah.
this? This
They're like,
you
"Huh?"
don't post nothing about dance."
Oh,
And it's hard because I think there's like this oh, we're gonna get deep here. We're kind
yeah,
of getting off
no.
topic a little bit, but I love this idea of like I've watched not watched I've read this book. Have you ever read Daring Greatly by Dr. Brene Brown, or have you
I
heard of it?
haven't. No, no,
Okay,
no.
so at 8 in college, I read it for
Hey.
an HA project. That's the one I chose, and I was just like, "Let's go
Mm.
for it. Sounds good." And like, mind you, I don't read a lot of self help books. I try, but we
Yeah.
don't get very far, and
Uh,
that's stuck with me. Sticks with me to this day. And one thing she talks about is like the scarcity problem, like
mm.
the fear of kind of like never being enough.
Mhm.
Like there's always like this want to be, just to exist more and stuff like that. But for me, I unfortunately I'm not happy with this and I'm aware that this is a problem, but I also have this kind of like fear of a fear of being seen and my work being seen and also still
Yeah.
not being good enough because of that, like there's
Mhm.
the whole loop and layer. There is a period where I was posting videos. If you scroll down my Insta, they're there.
Yeah, of you
Um
dancing, right? Of you
yeah,
doing yes, because I
exactly.
remember that. I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, you
I
go,
was like, "We're
man."
going for it. I'm not gonna
Dude,
be
yeah.
defeated."
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I think, there's a lot of layers to that, um, for sure, because 'cause I've been doing a lot of, like, self-reflection stuff. A big part of that definitely has to do with, like, my work before.
Mhm.
Being a dance teacher, weirdly enough, sucked, like, the confidence out of me. It's so weird to say, but,
Mm.
like, it did, and also something I'm still trying to figure out is, like, that joy that I used to have of, like, creating choreography that doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. Like,
Gotcha.
so and I think it because it became such a requirement and so wrapped up in work that
Mm.
it died down out of me as, like, a regular thing, and I hate that kind of. So that's been something that I wanna
Yeah.
kinda work on. Um, but
Mhm.
even this month, I was like, "You're gonna give yourself 15 minutes of creative time every week at least," or,
Yeah.
what, and then I didn't even do it. So it's like,
Mhm.
how do you get yourself out of that kinda, like, stuck space?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. And I'm sure you talked to, multiple people about it. Um,
Mhm.
but I think what's great about you and, just, like, the way that you've grown your platform too is just,
Yeah.
like, how authentic you are, and I think that's,
Oh,
like, at
thank
the
you.
core of, like, all the art, right? It's just, like, I think people
Mhm.
love seeing authentic stuff, um, and you're just so raw and visceral and, you just put it out there, you
Mhm.
started posting on YouTube, if y'all haven't checked that out, the Lego
Eh.
building and talks, and,
Yeah.
it was awesome to see you grow even on TikTok, to where you are now, um, and I think, like, I totally get it because I get, like, shaky whenever I go before an audition, like, when I went in, like, I'm always, I'm literally, like I guess you can't see the
Mhm.
camera, people who are listening, but
He's shaking his head. He's
yeah,
shaking
yeah,
yeah.
I you know, and I think something that helped me was just kind of like finding a place, I guess, what, I don't know, like, oh my gosh, this is so awfully worded. Wow, I'm not
No,
eloquent at
you're
this, but
good.
I guess finding like an area of love for yourself. At least for me,
Mhm.
I found that like,
Yeah.
because whenever it's shaky, especially going for these grad auditions, because everyone, either you have people who are like, "Oh my gosh, what's your name? Like, let's connect," or you have people who are like, "Can you like shut up in the hallways? You're being loud." And
Ooh, yes.
I'm like, listen, it's
Yes.
not that serious. I mean, it
Wait,
is,
can we
but
talk about that for a second?
yes, yes,
Like, I don't
yes.
know. So I've done a few like like Broadway auditions and stuff.
No
When I'm able
way.
to squeeze in. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to get in as a non-union girly. That's a
Yeah,
whole
that's
other
what I've heard.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I have been able to get in, like there literally is like two opposite ends. Like people who are
Mhm.
looking for other people to connect, the other people who are
Uh-huh.
like really serious. Like they're like,
Yeah,
I'm
literally.
union. I'm about to get in here. Give me my
Yeah.
heels. Like they're
Uh-huh.
very opposing. But yeah, sorry. I
Mhm.
just want to talk about that. Like the energy also that makes a
Yes.
difference.
It does, and, like, to me, sometimes I felt very discouraged by that because what gave me comfort during these auditions and, like, putting myself out there is knowing that there's people in my corner, and for me, that kinda grounded me and built my confidence is knowing that, like, I have people who will appreciate, like, what I do, and I
Mhm.
appreciate what I do. Of course, I'm, like, my harshest critic, right? Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be great, you know, or, like, I'm
Yeah.
ever gonna that confidence still needs to be worked on too, but at least that always helped me knowing, before going into, like, a big audition or something, just being like, "The worst that can happen is I guess I die there or something," you know? And
Sorry.
I just go in,
Yeah.
I try to be, like, as authentic as I can as what I'm
Mhm.
feeling in the moment, um, and just see where it takes me. Uh, yeah, that's awesome that you've been putting yourself out there even in these ways. I
Ooh,
think
listen.
yeah, yeah, it's hey, man, it's not easy, and I think that's a misconception with people who
Yeah.
sit back and they're like, "Oh my gosh," I think that's a big thing too, like, people who sit back and be like, "Oh, it's probably not that hard," or, um,
Mm.
"Oh, it's probably not that stressful," and it's like, I don't think you realize how nerve-wracking it is knowing that you're you're judged, like, someone else is judging you and deciding whether you fit whatever they're trying to put
They're
on,
looking for.
exactly.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
pivoting really quickly because I did wanna
You're good.
expand on the whole, the very interesting different personality types that you see in the audition room, right?
Mhm.
And, waiting to it's just so interesting to me because, yeah, you have those people who are, like, very much, like, in the zone, auto zone, and then you
Mhm.
have other people that are, like, kind of more, like, very social, and then you have others who are very, uh, like, how's it called? Giving you, like, the side eye, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Ugh." So, anyways,
Yeah.
that's it. I don't know where I was going with this conversation. Boom, and
No, I think it's important to note because that really does mess it up. There was like Broadway beef recently. Fun fact.
Ooh,
This is actually a quick pivot
yeah, yeah.
about non-union people
Mhm.
and the way that they choose to sign up on that unofficial
Mm.
form.
Yes.
And so people were, I guess, they had gotten to like an actual argument about the form and it not being done right that time period or whatever.
Mhm.
And I've seen that happen. That literally happened. My last audition I did, I went to Aladdin. um,
Ooh.
tore it up in a bad way. So I'm so
Oh,
glad you said,
no.
"What's the worst you could do?" I think
Yeah.
I've done it.
Oh,
So I
well,
think we're
hey,
good.
there's only one way to go up, you know?
Right.
You can
I
only
think
go
it's
up
only
from
up from
there.
here. So I like that perspective.
Literally.
But what happened before that, I didn't think I was gonna make it in actually because
Mhm.
so I don't know why they do this. I think this part of it is stupid. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna just follow where everyone else goes. But people post this unofficial paper list at 12 a.m. at night.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Sorry, go on.
No, no,
Sorry.
no, you're good. I find
Uh-huh.
that wild. If you're coming to an audition, you better get there and then say the audition is at 9 in the morning. Okay,
Mhm.
bet. Then get there at 5. Like the whole
Mhm.
12 a.m. thing is weird to me. Um,
Mhm.
so apparently that's what happened. It was like someone had brought a form. They were like, "We put this paper out at 12 a.m." Who's freaking coming over there at 12 a.m. at night in New York City? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I don't live in New York City. I live in Queens.
Yeah.
So that's just not a
And
thing. Sorry, I live in New York City. I just don't live in Manhattan for
yeah,
specific.
yeah, no, you're
like,
good. And plus what
um,
Uh-huh.
yes, we are about to go into a whole nother topic on what that. Yeah.
No, no, I was
Um,
gonna uh-huh.
uh, so because of that, someone else had brought in a paper. They had gotten there pretty early,
Mm.
around probably like 5 or 6 AM, and they started a paper.
Oh,
And they were
no.
like, "Okay, we see this paper and there's like about like 30 something people on it, but we got here at this time." And I was like, "Listen, I don't know." I was like, "I just got here. I'll put my name on this one and we just gonna keep rocking. I don't know,
Yeah.
like don't put me in it, coach." And so when the actual person got there, and I've seen her before at other auditions, she was
Mhm.
like, "This is not the paper. We started at 12 AM." It was a whole thing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she got stressed out and she was like transferring the paper number names over and she was like, "This is now more stressful," and stuff like that. Like she was taking lead over the whole
Jeez.
situation. And mind you, like the audition, I forgot the official name, but like audition coordinator is just there
Mhm.
like, My hands are out of this because
Yeah,
that's
they're like,
my
"I'm not
paper."
touching this."
Yeah, like we get here at this time and that's when we put your names up. Like y'all do this on your own. So apparently, like whatever happened recently, they got into like an actual argument, and that
Wow.
reminded me of that moment. It was not an argument when it happened when I was in the room. It was
Mhm.
just more like, "What the heck?" It was like low key drama, but apparently like drama happened.
Oh,
Um,
man.
but to move on from that side
Yeah.
note, I
Uh-huh.
did wanna know, I'm curious in regards to, like, balancing. For me, the last time I auditioned Aladdin, that was literally in the summer because when I was a teacher, that was
Uh-huh.
really the time I could do it,
Mhm.
because that was when I had free time. I
Yeah.
have a hard time finding a way to still audition for things.
Mhm.
I'm curious, how do you make time for theater auditions, or when you're actually doing shows? What does that look like for you when you're still at doing your engineering job full time?
Yeah, I just literally split myself in half physically and die
Oh, perfect.
because it's actually
Yeah.
yeah, it's stressful. So thankfully, um most of like so I've been doing a lot of community theater both in San Clemente and Long Beach, Orange County area in general, and
Mhm,
thankfully with that, they know that the people have daytime jobs, so usually a lot
mhm.
of the auditions are at night, a lot of the
Oh, so that's
rehearsals are at
nice.
night. Yeah, usually from like 7:30 to 10, kind of like the
New
same
York
as it
could
was in
never.
college. Yeah. Um, I mean, there was one time where I used a PTO day to go audition for the national tour in Wicked that happened in LA, which was insane, by the
Period.
way. Insane.
Mm,
I went there at 9 AM.
mhm.
That was my first time really kinda doing any official audition, like, for an on like, what is it called? A tour or anything kinda
Yeah.
professional, and, like, the line wrapped around the building. I
Mhm.
waited for hours. I think I didn't get seen until, like, 5 PM or something. It was, like, a whole
Y
eight-hour day that took.
That will kill your confidence as well, by the way. I
Yeah.
never forget, I left work early to go to a Hamilton audition.
Mhm.
Anything popular, just
Yeah.
and I was
Mm.
there, I think, as well, pretty late, and I wasn't seen, and I was like, "Well, I just wasted my whole day."
Mhm.
And I was so sad. I was like, "I'm never going to get anywhere." That was
It
your brain just goes do, 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 do.
It's rough. It's like,
Mhm.
it's hard for sure. And then like when I do have to do rehearsals, I basically go into work, I have an hour to de-stress, and then I go to auditions, and then afterwards I either get like Taco Bell, I go to the
Okay,
gym,
Taco Bell,
or
not a
I
sponsor.
dude, yeah. Oh my gosh. When I was in shows, my Taco Bell orders every single day. I'm just like,
Chalupa,
yeah,
Doritos Locos.
let me do my own build my own cravings box. Let me get that Crunchwrap
Hey, yeah.
Supreme.
Mhm.
It's saved me. But, it
Yeah.
gets very, very, it's definitely very stressful, especially because I travel for my job. So then I have to tell my manager, like, "Hey, I can't travel these months." And then,
Yeah.
that comes with its own, trouble. But I
Mhm,
try to accommodate it too. Like, usually I've found a way to kind of communicate to the directors that I
mhm,
audition for, like, "Hey, just so you know, I probably have to take at least 1 week out of the month to travel. I'll
mhm.
be there for all the days, like I'll be there for tech week, I'll be there for the shows for sure, absolutely set in
Yeah.
stone. But rehearsals, it it really is about 1 week per month. Sometimes I don't get to travel that month. Like, for example, this month I'm not traveling,
Mhm.
but it's really up in the air because we schedule things 2 weeks in advance, so it can happen, like, anytime like that. So, it's kind of
Oh.
like a balancing act where I have to be communicative with my manager at work and also
Mhm,
with the directors of the show, and thankfully, I've had the luck that, both work with me. I'm sure,
Mhm.
like, in a more professional setting, that might be a little bit harder because then, they're paying me. Um,
Yeah.
but honestly, yeah, that's kind of like how I've been juggling everything, and then yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's very cool. Especially like because not every manager is going to be like, "Oh yeah, you have other passions outside of this. Like you're not
Mhm.
putting in your blood, sweat, and tears into this job."
Exactly.
So no, that's
Exactly.
super great. Same thing for my manager, which I'm really grateful for. Like
Yeah.
he played a big role in me like choosing this job over the one I had option for, was because he was like,
Mhm.
so fun fact, he listened to the podcast
Hey, no way. Shout out. What's
before my
up?
interview.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
So he was a real
Um,
one. He was like, "I wanna
y
know who this person
yeah.
is."
Mind you,
Alright.
that was the podcast episode where I was like, "So I left my job
Oh my gosh. He was like,
and I wanna be a
"Hmm."
dancer."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so he was very much like, "No, like, I want you to still have time for dance and still have a work-life
Mhm.
balance and,
Yeah.
blur, 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 blur." And I was like, "Period.
Y
Exclamation mark. Thank you." Like,
oh, yeah, wow.
"What?
Mhm.
Teaching would never." They were
Do
like,
do
"Actually, stay at extra hour and a half, and no, we don't appreciate you."
Yeah,
That
dude,
was that.
ooh, teaching's rough, man. It's
I've had the
so
hardest job. Everything else is going to be easier from here. I told my mom
mhm,
that. I was like, nothing will touch me anymore. I've
mhm.
been through it all.
You're like, "I'm invincible,"
I
not
am
only
literally
career-wise, but in the audition room too with life.
right now. We got to transfer that over.
Yeah.
My confidence as a teacher, great. My confidence as a dancer, for some reason, they're not matching up.
Uh,
But
mhm.
no, that's really good. I think I need to start figuring that out, like giving myself a chance because I'm still kind of still fresh in this job. Like
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna leave early for an audition. I haven't gotten there yet.
yeah.
Especially when it comes to like you said, like for Wicked and stuff like that, for Broadway stuff,
Oof.
when it's not a guarantee that I'm even gonna be seen anyways. I've gotten to a point where I'm not even interested in wasting my time.
Mhm.
Um, so when it comes to Broadway shows, unless it's like small and hasn't really been heard of yet, and it's like warming up, you
Yeah,
probably won't catch me anymore.
yeah,
And it's okay. And I think I've accepted that, and that's fine. I think I want to be more intentional of finding other dance things. I wish, and I've considered it, but I just love New York, but, like, I wish New York was more open to having those, like, nighttime auditions or those weekend auditions,
yeah.
because it's not really much of a thing, which is unfortunate,
Mhm.
and even, like, there's so many cool opportunities that happen during the weekday,
Yeah.
bright early in the morning, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Y'all aren't," there's people out here, who gotta make a living, but if in New York, it's kind of like at least for dance, the expectation is you're kind of putting your all into dance and your side
Mhm.
job is, some people like wait tables or, whatever their side, maybe they're teaching class or a fitness class, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I came to New York and I was like, I don't want to struggle
Mhm.
financially. So
Yep.
I need that full-time job, but I also need
Mhm.
to figure out what that looks like, you know,
Yeah.
how do I still figure out dance? I think that's the hardest thing. And I'm balancing that out right now, figuring that out. It's like, okay, well, make sure you're still looking at, audition postings. And my goal is to find, some kind of theater
Yeah.
that's more small knit, but that's also kind of hard to find in New York a bit. Because I miss like musical theater. Like I haven't done
Yeah.
that in so long, but it's
Uh-huh.
really hard.
Yeah. I totally get that, and, it's hard because the arts is a very inequitable field because unless you
Hmm.
have a lot
Tea.
of those resources, or, like, that stability, then it's
Hmm.
really hard to kind of pursue full time.
Yeah.
Um, I totally get that, and I think, like your experience of kind of leaving your teaching job,
Mhm.
that's a really a strong choice because now, like, you've had that kinda taste of, like, "Okay, what's gonna happen now?"
Yeah.
And, I think, like, when you posted about, like, okay, you're now full time gonna be posting on TikTok and,
Mhm.
going to social media and growing your platform, you know, uh, that was a really great time when you, like, started to grow. I think, like
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, like, when I lost that job, that was, like, my moment of when I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's is when I need to really, like, evaluate what I wanna do." But yeah, it's really hard. It's funny because I was talking to my, do you know who Kim Rubenstein is?
That name sounds so familiar.
She
Yes.
was she was an acting teacher at UCSD, and I kind of was talking to her because she was like,
Oh.
"Well, why do you wanna do it now? Like, why not right after college?" And I was like, I think I was really, I chose a very, like I guess I'm very insecure about being, like, instability, especially,
Mhm.
like, the fact that, I may not, like, be in a position where I don't have, like, a home to go to, food to eat,
Yeah.
et cetera, and I think that really scared me into really kind of going in all in, but now I'm in this position where I kind of face that a little bit, and I wasn't scared like I thought I would be. It was just a
Mm.
really big moment of like, "Okay, maybe I can focus on something more aligned with what I want." Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't
No,
know.
that makes sense. And
That's
I
my
said also random note, I forgot to say this. I see you out here doing that content. First of all, I'm gonna put Chris's stuff in the description. I'm gonna say it at the end as well. But when Chris is traveling, he's over here putting in his content work too with his
Let's
hotel
do it.
reviews.
Yeah.
Period exclamation mark. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm completely dead when I do a lot of those, which is, like, why I started doing voiceovers afterwards. Because 'cause I'm like, "Well, if I do it there at the hotel, I'm gonna be like, 'Hey, guys, so I
Right.
just got off my 8-hour flight, and this is my hotel in the middle of Alabama. Woo. Okay, thanks.'" And I was
No,
like
yeah.
so,
You really have to add a little extra umph into your voice, so I get
yeah.
it. Yeah.
You gotta get that high quality,
Yes.
but yeah, thank you for that plug, I appreciate it,
Well, no, 100%. I love it. Literally just keep going.
yeah.
I For me, I started posting in June. I started taking posting seriously in June.
Mhm.
And I was just like, even if I'm getting 200, I'm stuck in a little 200, 300 jail,
Yeah.
or maybe I have a really good video and then I have a video that doesn't do well, like I'm just gonna keep posting. Like even right now,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at my stuff and I'm like, my video, my numbers could be better. But as someone says, and I agree to, it's like you can't look at the numbers. You just have to be consistent.
Yeah,
Post whatever's on your
absolutely.
brain. There's this
Mhm.
thing they officially call it Yap Talk now, and like I always look at these creators like, and it's so funny because I always looked at it, I was like, they just talk about whatever. There's no like,
Mhm.
you must post 3 times a day, or
Yeah.
oh you must. It's just post at least once a day. Some days are 3, some days 1, some days 7,
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah.
10, but, like,
Mhm.
just vibe and posting.
Yeah.
That's what's being figured out, so, no, seriously. I like it, and it's you keep doing it too, and people
Yeah.
that's gonna be one of, like, your niches. Because I also don't,
Mhm.
like, niche my whole account. I do, like, have
Mhm.
various things in one, so I like it.
Yeah, and, I haven't experienced the audition process in New York, but, I have heard, like, even someone that I, was in audition with, she, like, came from New York, and she was like, "Yeah, don't go there unless you're union because it's really, really difficult and inconvenient if you're non-union." And then, like, I've also seen stories
Mhm,
that really align with, like, your own story too about, like, this whole guest or this list thing that happens, like,
mhm,
this unofficial and no one really proctoring anything or,
mhm.
organizing anything, and it's just chaotic, and so it's unfortunate, and I can see how that can be really draining. I just hope, like,
Yeah,
I believe in you. I have confidence in you, Kivana. You've got
thank you.
it. You've got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think um the journey is interesting, as I'm pretty sure you see it as well, as far as like which part of theater you want to dive into and maybe hone in on.
Mhm.
um I think I'm figuring that out now. It's like I love musicals, but maybe that's
Yeah.
not where my opening is right now, and that's
Mhm.
fine. um
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing more light and seeing more strength coming in for me, in more of like a contemporary, like
Mm.
repertory way.
Mhm.
um, because like in dance, you have like different routes. You could be like, you can do musical, you could do commercial,
Yeah.
you could do like repertory. Now, but everybody and their mama is a dancer these days. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's just a matter of just trusting yourself. I think I trust my dreams.
Mhm.
Um, but for some reason, I'm not trusting my ability.
Mm.
But we just got to match them up, because I'm like, I wouldn't keep going if I didn't
Mhm.
believe in it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, it's
exactly.
there. I just gotta cook. I gotta cook a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta get a little
Yeah.
seasoned.
Right.
So
But I am curious to know, one so okay, so first off, I have to know because I feel like I never have a full description. So when it comes to, like, traveling and things
Yes.
like that,
Mhm.
if you don't mind, what are you doing when you're working?
Yeah,
What does your
I
job entail? I must know more.
yes, yes. So, I'm a after sales engineer. I work at this company that creates metrological instruments, not meteorological, but metrological. Metrological. Wow. Instruments that measure different material properties of materials, like roughness, hardness, EM, etc. And so my job whenever I travel is that I'm installing something for one of our clients. So they buy our product
Mm,
and I go and install it for them and then train them, calibrate, verify the calibrations, do all that
mhm,
fun stuff. I usually travel for 2 days.
mhm,
I'm there for 2 days. The whole travel time, I get like 2 days for traveling there, spend 2 days, and then a day for traveling back. And so,
gotcha.
yeah, so
It's a
it
quick
sounds
turnaround too.
yeah, it sounds very luxurious, and this is also, like they're, like, very generous. Some companies have you, like, return the same day or work the same day. Thankfully, the company I work for is very generous in that fact where I can spend a whole day getting there,
Yeah.
and then the next day, usually I set up everything, and then the day after that, I train, and then the day after that, I leave. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really rough because I take early flights. And
Mm.
I fly mostly out of LAX. I live in Orange County. In
Oh,
case
yeah.
y'all, just geographically, it's about an hour out Orange County
Mhm,
from LA. So I have to wake up really, really early to beat the traffic and then to give myself enough time at the airport. And then I
mhm.
fly. I can't sleep on planes. So I'm usually there just, I don't know,
Oh,
crying and sad and being like,
existing.
my neck, my knees.
Yeah, I can only imagine because you're so tall. So, like,
Yeah.
the seats are not meant for tall people. They gotta
y-
fix that.
Yeah.
Best leg space, JetBlue, I would say.
Yes.
Also not a
I
sponsor, but
I
yes.
took JetBlue to so I had the opportunity to go to Europe for my work, and so I
Nice.
did JetBlue and highly recommend. I think it's
Mhm,
I think it was great for a really great price. I think the one-way ticket was about like 500 or something, 5 to 600, which is
nice.
not yeah, it's not too
From
bad.
California into Europe? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
not
good.
too bad. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
and the legroom, so good. The most I've had,
Best
I
legroom
was
ever. Matter of
yeah.
fact, you know what? JetBlue sponsor me.
Yeah, yeah, honestly,
Wait,
do
hold
it,
up.
please.
Because no, seriously, random note, I used to be a Southwest girly. They
Oh.
lost me a long
Oh,
time
yeah,
ago.
after the baggage stuff?
And the
Mm.
baggage now too?
Yeah,
First of
yeah.
all, the seats stopped being cheap a long time ago.
Oh, no.
They're over here giving Delta prices and the Delta
Oh,
service is not there.
please.
JetBlue, I get the better leg space and I get a screen.
Mhm.
Southwest, you don't get no screen and you have layovers. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
random note.
No,
But yes,
that's good.
JetBlue best leg space
Yeah,
for
it
me.
was great, even
And
better
more
than
comfortable. Snacks galore, just a vibe.
mhm. Yeah,
Yes.
dude. Oh my gosh, that blew my mind because I actually flew to New York from California. That was my first layover.
Oh,
And so they have, like, this snack bar or something where you can just go up and grab
and grab it.
snacks, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Am I tripping?" Because when I first walked onto the plane, I was like, "What is this?" It's just a whole setup in the middle of their plane, and
Yeah.
then they announced it, and I was like, "Wait, people are just, like, going up there and taking things," and I'm
Mhm.
like, "Is this what we can do?" And so I went up there and I, like, snagged some
No,
snacks, and I'm just like,
seriously.
"Wow, luxury, man." And economy?
Mhm.
Wild.
Right.
So
Not economy. Like,
I was like,
wow.
"Whoa." Exactly, yeah.
No,
Um
seriously, yeah. They treat us all well, and I appreciate that.
Mhm. But yeah, so
Um,
so basically uh-huh, yeah.
oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was like so basically that's what I do. Whenever I post my
Mm,
hotel tours, it's like I posted that day that I'm traveling. Sometimes I change hotels midway, through the trip because, for
mhm,
example, some of the cities I go to are, like, like, anywhere between 1 to 3 hours from an airport. So, I then
mm.
do a hotel closer to the airport on the last night. That way I don't have to wake up at like an awful
Yeah.
hour. So, but
No,
yeah,
that
and
makes sense.
that's how I make my content. I just kind of land there, go to my hotel, do a quick video around, and
Mhm.
then try to find some dinner. And
Yeah.
then the night before, I do my other hotel, and yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
just
here's what I'll give a note to plan for when you get big, right?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, we're going out there.
There you go.
Don't post when you're still there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is also a note for just like audience peeps. I've learned that do you know this creator named Yuval?
That sounds really familiar, but I do
He
not
finds
off the top.
people just for
Oh,
funsies.
oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, it's so funny,
Yes. Sorry.
wait, have you heard is this spot
Oh,
is
yeah,
it ringing a
yeah.
bell? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Sorry, go on.
Him and Ayame, another creator, she'd be, like, at a hotel, and she'd be like, "Find me," and you just see, like, a picture in the background, and that's really it,
Oh.
and he's like, "From the design of this frame and da 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 da," and he'd be like, "You're at this hotel," and it was just funny. He actually did that recently with another creator, but yeah, I was like, "Okay, good to know." Show
Mhm.
people as minimal as possible.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the
It's wild.
advice, and, yeah, I started doing that because I was realizing I was like, well, 1, because I didn't wanna do the voice center or, like, on the spot anymore, but also I was
Mhm.
like, I don't want people, like, kind of knowing where I am, and
Yeah.
so at least if I post it after, they'll be like, "Huh,
Like,
when did we
"Huh."
go?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll never know.
exactly, I
Yeah.
bet.
Um, so I feel like I already know the answer, but I would love a more specific answer before we start, like, wrapping up.
Yeah, yeah.
If money weren't a factor, what exactly would you be doing full time? Like, where exactly would you be? Would you be, on Broadway theater? Do you have a specific show? Or would you be like, I'd want to mix, like maybe do Broadway 6 months, maybe do like a show or a movie. Like, where is your like ideal goals at?
Honestly, I'd be a stripper. And no,
Period.
I'm just kidding. I just
Plot
actually,
twist.
if I had the body for it, let me tell you, I mean, they get paid,
Listen,
but well,
they be making coins.
yeah,
They be
but
making coins.
I would definitely for sure. I think I'm finding that I kind of like film a lot. The
Mm,
stage is such an amazing experience. So I think it would be a mix between film and stage. And it doesn't
gotcha.
have to, I've learned to like it doesn't have to be Broadway. There's a lot of really great, like, theaters out there, like Paper Mill,
Mhm.
what's it called? The one over there in, North Carolina that's oh my gosh, Playmakers,
Okay, I was like, you said North Carolina. I was like, I cannot help you. I'm so
there's
sorry.
Playmakers, right? There's Yale Rep, there's, the, La Jolla Playhouse is also amazing.
Love Loya Playhouse.
Yeah, shout out, man. So,
Mhm,
I would wanna do something for me, the biggest thing that I would wanna do is, like, do something original. Um,
mhm.
it's I think, like, creating, like, a character from scratch and kinda making it my own would be the biggest goal for me. So, yeah, I
Nice.
guess that's kinda my answer. I don't know if that's specific enough, but, yeah, mainly,
Yeah.
it would be half kind of like film and then the other half being stage, not necessarily on Broadway. Broadway would be amazing. Not
Mhm,
necessarily musical either. It can be musical or like a straight play, but
mhm.
yeah. What about yourself?
Hey, what a good question. As I already asked it.
Yeah.
No, just like I I so here, I'm gonna voice some stuff out I've never voiced out before. Let's go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Let's just
Do
let's
it.
just vibe.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I'm
Mhm.
mixing and matching. I don't think I'm always going to do dance solely. I've
Mhm.
always loved, like, for example, I don't know if you know who Debbie Allen is, but like she's not just a dancer and a choreographer. Like,
Mm.
while I must say though, that's where she got her career. Like she was the dancer of her time.
Uh-huh.
Um, and she played Anita on West Side Story on Broadway.
Oh, wow.
Um, but she was also like, also Fame, by the way, Fame, the TV show.
Mm.
But then she became like an actor on Grey's Anatomy and then a director on Grey's Anatomy. And then she's also got her own dance studio and she's still a
Yeah.
dance teacher. Like she's hopping in so many different bags and I think that'd be cool. That's why I was like, I would love to do, musical theater again in some way or maybe just like drop musical for a second and just like start expanding in theater and what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because I did a little TDAC, in
Yeah,
college and stuff,
yeah.
but I didn't continue that experience. So yeah, I feel like I would do well in like a comedy. Like I love Abbott Elementary.
Mm.
I know I feel like that's such a
Ah,
typical
so
answer,
good.
but I feel like that is where I would thrive in like just like these silly comedies,
Mhm.
TV shows or a movie. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the I that is where my brain is going as far as just open-minded concepts of things I don't see that I would love to see on screen more. That's the biggest reason why I
Yeah.
love Quinta and like Issa Rae because
Mhm.
they're showing like, okay, what does like an awkward black girl look like? Or maybe like a black girl who's like a little bit out of her like comfort zone. And
Yeah.
I feel like we need more of that. I feel like we need more TV shows that are more for like young adults.
Mhm.
like adults as we are, figuring out our past and what does that look like. I feel like they either
Yeah.
exist and they get canceled, or they
Mhm.
don't feel as like, accurate to the times.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know who's to say, because maybe at that point I won't be a young adult but I'm giving myself grace and just trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, though, my first path, before we get to all of that, that's like down the road, is really growing in my um dance experience in a repertory way. I
Yeah.
think that's where my path is right now.
Mhm.
Um, oh, fun fact, I'm going to be performing. So
Oh. Uh-huh.
the experience that I had for Sacred Songs with that, Ailey extension, we
Uh-huh.
are being brought back, which I'm super grateful for.
No
We had such a wonderful
way.
experience,
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna be performing at Jacob's Pillow in August.
Ooh.
So,
Mm. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
that is a big
awesome, dude.
deal.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
let me hype
gosh.
myself up for a second, because I was like, "Wait, hold up."
Dude, that's
Um,
awesome. What the
so I
heck?
just think yeah,
Yeah.
continuing new experiences I think is so important, and I think what's happening right now is like so many things I didn't expect or didn't have on a
Yeah.
bingo list because I didn't know it was possible.
Uh-huh.
I just expect to keep having things randomly thrown at me. Like the whole
Mhm.
TikTok thing, I didn't know I was gonna like grow on TikTok, and
Uh-huh.
um on how I was gonna grow on TikTok. I still don't know. I'm still figuring it out, and I'm still trying to grow in different ways. And okay,
Yeah.
now I have a YouTube. What does that look like? How do I make time for
Uh-huh.
that? It's a really hard battle. As far as balancing creativity, as you know, oh,
Mhm.
dead tired. How do I put a
Dude,
recording,
yeah.
real quick out,
Ooh.
after a shift at work? So that's what's super key. But it's a journey. I think right now I have decided Monday through Friday will be my for sure work days. My work
Yeah.
days, even in regards to podcast stuff, because now I'm sliding my podcast back in
There you
as I'm now
go,
doing TikTok and
yes.
stuff, which has been hard. Which
Mhm.
is why season 3 hasn't started yet, but now season 3 has started by the time this episode will come out.
Yeah.
Um, so just things like that, but I'm very excited. I think I'm just kinda winging things right now, so that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's
Hey,
amazing.
thank you. No, like,
Yeah.
literally, we were like I read the email said, "Jacob? Pillow?"
You're like,
As in
"Whoa."
pillow of the Jacob? Just like,
Yeah.
"What?" Um, but no, I think it's gonna be great, Chris. I think we are on a path. Um What's important is that we haven't given up and we haven't tapped out. I
Mhm.
think the world can be such a work to pay and feed yourself space. And
Yes.
I what kind of makes me sad sometimes is, so even people I know, family members who gave up on their passions
Mhm.
because they were stuck in a place of I have to provide for my family now. I have to
Mhm.
provide for myself. And I know for me, I didn't want to be someone who was 30 years down the line, or even 10 years down the line, wishing I had
Yeah.
done something that I feel like it's too late for.
Mhm.
One, I would say it's never too late if you're listening.
Yeah.
I've
Definitely.
seen people go back and pursue and it work out.
Mhm.
Um, but it's more so trusting in that constant thought, like taking
Yeah.
action, because you wouldn't think it if you didn't think you could do it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, sometimes, some good can come out of a little chaos and a little
Hey,
uncertainty. So,
yeah,
you know?
uncertainty is. I feel like that's life. So just
Yeah.
go for it. Take that jump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I
there we
thank you, Chris. This
go.
is such
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, this is
I love it
amazing.
here.
This is fantastic.
um, so just once again, listeners, thank you for listening. Hopefully you could take something from this conversation, from the both of us, and feel free to ask questions if you have any. You can go ahead and follow Chris on Instagram at Topher Hutch. I'll drop the official at in the description. And also, Chris has a website, topherhutch.com. Okay, website. I gotta get
Yeah.
there. Okay,
That also
website. I
happened
saw
when I
that.
was jobless.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
see,
that's when I
he's
made
like, I
it.
gotta make some moves.
Literally.
LOL.
That was good.
So make sure you go ahead and see and what Chris is up to. Stay updated. Make sure you follow me at Kavana on Instagram, at the Introvert Social Hour on TikTok, of course, on YouTube as well. Yeah, just follow your passions, follow your dreams, even if it's something you're doing on the side. Maybe you could warm up into it later. You just never know, but make sure you're being happy and you're doing what you love. Um, and yeah, get some sunshine, get some air, have an amazing week, and I will see you next week on the Introvert Social Hour. Bye.